Good morning, guys. How is everyone doing? I hope everybody's doing well. Can I just make sure our speakers, everybody's good? Thank you so much, guys, for being here together with us. Really, really appreciate this. First, I just want to start off with an introduction in terms of who we are and who I am. My name is Susan, chairperson of the AWCA Milpark Student Chapter. And we, as the AWCA, we are a home for aspiring chartered accountants and future leaders. AWCA is a sisterhood, that uplifts, mentors, and builds women to rise together. Our mission is simple: to create a community where we can grow, support each other, and open doors for those coming after us. Together, we are not just part of we are not just part of the change, we are the change. Before I begin, I just want to just give a shout out to our speakers, right? Because this would not have happened without them. I just want to take a moment to honor the phenomenal women we have in the room today. As women, we have walked a long road. We have broken barriers in boardrooms, lecture halls, and industries that once told us that we did not belong. We have carried the weight of expectation, yet turned it into a fuel for excellence. We have proven time and time again that our voices matter, that our work changes lives, so that our presence is also powerful. And what makes today even more special is that these are phenomenal women. Despite all they have achieved, they still find time to pour onto us, to guide us, to inspire us, and to remind us that there is space for all of us. For that, we say thank you. And also shout out to our attendees. Thank you so much. Thank you. Your presence here means everything. This event wouldn't happen if we don't have attendees. This event was put together with you in mind to empower you, to inspire you, and to remind you that you belong in these conversations and in the spaces. We are also glad that you chose to spend your time with us today. And we really hope that you leave not just motivated, but also connected and encouraged, because that is the goal for such events: to connect, to hear from other people's stories. I think sometimes you realize that what you're going through, it's not just you who's going through it. There are others who've been through it, and they can offer you solid advice in terms of how you can navigate that. No new problem is new, it's only new to you. And if you open up, you connect with other people, you might find that you'll be able to get some of the answers in terms of assisting you to navigate whatever it is that you're currently facing. So we are here to uplift one another, to motivate one another, to walk this road together. We have phenomenal women here today who are here to remind us that it's possible. Okay, our dreams are not invalid. It's possible. They have made it. They are walking the journey. They have amazing stories to share with us. And we really hope that all of us here can learn a thing or two from someone. So I hope you have your notebooks out. Take down those notes so that after this session, you can reflect and be like, okay, 1, 2, 3, say this, and that. How am I going to apply this into my own life? So, guys, please take out those notebooks. Let's connect. Let's make this a success. And yeah, guys, and one more thing, have fun. Please feel free to send your questions in the chat. We do have people who are in charge of the charts. So just send your question, leave your comment. I think you should also have a Q&A option. So drop your question in there and we'll have someone read out your question to the speakers. If you do want to ask your question personally, specifically directed at somebody, again, feel free, just let us know and you can ask your question directly. So yeah, guys, that is for me. Have fun, engage. Let's make this as impactful as possible. And just to get things started, guys, the speakers are going to introduce themselves. I'm not even going to try and do it, on their behalf. They're going to take over, tell us everything we need to know about those phenomenal women that we have in the room today. Okay, they're going to have the floor to shine and to share who they really are, with us. And actually, before we get to the speakers introducing themselves, we just wanted to do like a nice icebreaker quiz, just to get people relaxed and into the mood. It's nothing too serious. Just play along and yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I just wanna confirm, Michelle, are you good? Can you unmute? Okay. Finish. Ooh, okay. No problem. Let me just share my screen. Okay, please do let me know if you are able to see the quiz. If you can see my screen, please just let me know.
We can't see it anymore.
Okay, no problem. I'll just make sure that it works. Just give me a few seconds. Michelle, who was supposed to present the quiz, is actually having a bit of difficulty with getting her mic to work. So, but that's not a problem. I'll just do it on my side. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. While we sort out the quiz, I'd just love to go into the first segment and then we can sort this out while everything is happening. So the first thing we had planned today, we'll do the quiz right after your introductions. I think it would be great for the people to get to know our speakers. So I think I would rather go ahead and have our speakers introduce themselves, basically sharing your CA journey in 3 minutes. You know, what has been your journey like? What did you go through? How did you get to this person that you are today? So kindly just do share with us your CA journey. We're gonna start with Zinhle. I'm gonna start with the first person on my video next to me. So I'm gonna start with Zinhle, and then we're gonna move on to Zama. So Zinhle, take the floor. Tell us who you are, your CA journey, your journey in 3 minutes. Go.
Ugh, these time restrictions. Okay, I'll do my best. Good morning, ladies, and if there are any gents in the crowd. My name is Zinhle Simamane, and I am currently CFO of international business at a company called Traction, which is in the rail industry. With regards to my CA journey, it actually started, and I'm not going to give away my age, but many, many years ago. When I was in high school in grade 11, accounting was one of the subjects that I took. And our accounting teacher selected myself and a fellow pupil to attend winter school, which is VAC work, effectively, for students at PwC. That included us getting to understand what the CA qualification actually meant, what it took to get there, and what audit would look like, because we were then sent out with audit teams on clients over the space of a week, effectively. So it was a crash course into what it means to be a CA and what you would be possibly exposed to if you subsequently joined PwC. From that opportunity, I was offered a bursary. And although PwC would have paid for any qualifying degree, I decided to go the accounting route. With that, I was accepted for the bursary and went to Wits University on the Bachelor of Accounting Science degree, which is effectively your CA SA route. 3 years undergrad, 1 year postgrad or CTA. I qualified the year that I qualified. I finished school the year that I finished school, and then I joined PwC in the banking and capital markets division. What interested me about that and why I wanted to join banking and capital markets is because I believe that private equity and investments and deal making were all really, really, really sexy. I was like, this looks like so much fun from the TV shows that I used to watch. And banking and capital markets would give me a segue into that. From PwC, then I needed to make a choice. Will I stay in audit and go the partner route? Would I then venture out into corporate? And at the time, because I'd already seen what audit had to offer for 3 years, I decided for me, let me go and explore what else is out there in the corporate world. What else can I do? I then joined AWCA, was at AWCA for 3 years. Then I left to join a mezzanine fund. I was there just under 2 years. And from there, I joined Traction as a commercial and financial analyst. Because of what I was able to do at Traction within a short space of time, I was quickly promoted to CFO of international business, and I've been in that role for the last 5 years. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome stuff. Even though you won't share your age, it's fine. We'll do our own calculations on the side. It's fine. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. Zama, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Susan. I think most of you guys know my age. I think you can tell my age that I'm still young. So I won't tell my age because I'm still young. Yeah, I'm just still young. Cool. Thank you so much, ladies, and good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, it's such an honor to be part of the speakers for this amazing event under this amazing theme. I'm phenomenal. I'm Zamasheng Butelezi, but you can call me Zama. I am currently a lecturer at Milpark Education under School of Professional Accounting. My journey started when I was in grade 8. Basically, it started when I had a conversation with my mom. She was an accounting teacher, so she was reviewing my results and she saw my EMS results and she told me that you should be an accountant. So basically, she's the one who actually encouraged me and saw the potential in me and saw something in me that I couldn't understand back then, that I meant to become a CASA. At the age of 15, I lost my mom. So she couldn't basically witness me becoming a CASA, graduating, and actually finishing high school as well. So that was the most difficult time for me, but that didn't stop me from pursuing the dream, because that's when my mom actually planted the dream to me. And basically, that was my why, and it kept me going. I went to the rural school to do my grade 11 and also my grade 12. So I matriculated from the rural school and I was blessed to get a bursary from REAP. Basically, it provides the students from the rural schools. And also I got a Frene Ginwala scholarship. And I went to KZN to do my undergrad Become Accounting. And it took me 4 years to complete my 3-year degree. Also, I had a difficult time. I used to question myself and also question my degree as to whether am I in the right path or I need to do something else. But also my why kept me going. And after that, I went through a very difficult time after my undergrad. I failed PGDA twice with another institution, and that was very difficult. And also, I used to question myself: Am I in the right path? Is this dream for me or not? Until I joined Milpark when I did my third attempt for PGDA, and that was basically my breakthrough, if I can put it in that way, or that was a turning point in my career, because that's where I realized my potential. That's where things changed. And what changed was the support that I got from the lecturers, from the assistant lecturers, and also from my fellow students. It's a community that I got from Milpark. And basically, that's when things changed. And that's when I realized that actually this thing is for me. So when I did my PGDA, I did it while I was doing my articles with SNG Grant Thornton, and that was amazing. Work-life balance and also the studies, that was amazing. And yeah, after that, after my articles, I joined Milpark as an academic, as a lecturer, and here I am right now. I am enjoying my role, and God is good all the time. And one thing that I learned throughout my journey is resilience, and you mustn't forget your why, and you are more than capable. Yeah, that's all I can share. Thank you so much.
Amazing stories. I think your story is a story of resilience. That's one word that that comes to mind, listening from your story. And I think, guys, we need to advocate, for those firms people seem to be happy about. She was so happy at SNG. I think we need to shine light on that. We want to be in spaces where we are happy when we are trainees, firms that actually, do care about us. So shout out to SNG for making your articles journey, a good one. So yeah, shout out to them. Thank you, Zama. Moving on, we're going to move on to Zimkita. May you kindly take the floor and share your journey with us.
Oh, I will share my age. I'm 48. So So because I share it all over social media, because I'm aging great, right? I look good. So I can share my age. So I don't know how to squeeze in over 27 years of a career path into 3 minutes. But my journey started when I was in the Transkei and I could read by the age of 6. I know for a fact that I could read and I could read novels. I was in a village boarding school. And when I would be reading the novels in the former Transkei, and I would actually contrast the life that I'm reading about in these novels, especially the poverty that they were describing, to the life that I actually lived in the villages. And I always thought, I mean, I actually wanted their poverty. They had a fridge, they were eating cheese every day. And then all the time I would be contrasting the commonalities between this life that I'm living in the Transkei under apartheid to the life that is in these books. And the commonality was money. So my journey started with me going to my dad. I think I was around the age of 10, and then saying, what subjects would I have to learn in order for me to understand money? Because I thought that money would be a conduit to actually getting me into this world where poverty was like so glamorous, you know what I'm saying, compared to my world. And I was kind of like semi-middle class in my own world. So that's how my journey started. And just to cut it short, when I was 17 years old, then I started with my first year at Natal Technikon because my dad could not afford a university. And then I actually self-funded my journey from the following year. I was still 17 years old, up until I qualified when I turned 29. So my journey is fully self-funded. I tell people I own my CASA brand. I make no apologies for the fact that I own my brand and I can do whatever. So you can't actually employ me and think that you can direct my brand. I am a partner at Sekela Xabiso. I actually just rejoined the profession. I was thinking I'm going to leave for good. I've stayed in the profession. I've been in and out, but the reason for me staying in the profession is it's all about developing future leaders. So I'm quite happy to be in this panel with young women, right? Because I mean, in my life, when I was doing my trainee contract and whatever, we never had that kind of thing. So we never saw ourselves making it to partner and all of those things because the people who were there did not look like us. So my journey is a self-funded. I paid for it up until all my boards were paid for by myself. My CTA was paid for by myself. I was doing my trainee contract with doing my articles. I failed my board twice, my first part of the board. I'm not sure about the structure now, but we used to write boards. You had board 1 and board 2. So I failed my first part of the board twice. And then the third attempt, I changed the strategy completely and took full responsibility of the fact that I was cramming during my degree. I was like, during my degree in CTA, I did not have knowledge. I was just cramming. So I went to a point where I said I needed to actually sit in with myself and actually say, what is this profession about? What is it the CASA journey about? And I passed. I also then, when I was 7 months pregnant, I wrote my second part of the board. But one thing that happened, like my dad passed on 3 days. On a Thursday, we're supposed to write on a Monday. My dad passes on a Thursday, and I had to make a decision to write. And I made that decision at 6 o'clock on that Monday morning that, you know what, I'm gonna go right and then travel to the Eastern Cape to bury my dad. And I actually passed my exams because and for me, preparation was key, right? Because I actually was so prepared. And yeah, so when my daughter was a week old, I qualified as a CA in 2006, February, just a week after my daughter was born. One more point. So what is the CASA journey about? For me, CASA journey is about access to knowledge, to technical knowledge and business commercial knowledge, is access to life-changing thought leadership and critical thinking. For Black women especially, is access to confidence, right? because that is why we get so much hostility as Black women CAs from our own communities, right? Because we are confident, we are critically thinking, we are people who advocate and lobby for certain positions because we've been trained to do that, and also it's access to future leaders of this country. Thank you so much.
Oh, what an amazing and inspiring story. I have no words. Literally, I have no words. Like, I think the definition of next to the definition of a fighter, your picture should be next to it because you have fought and you made sure. So, no, thank you so much for that amazing story. Like, wow. No, that is amazing. Thank you. That is huge inspiration, especially for many people when you are going through this journey. You do face certain challenges and you have to decide, should I stop? Should I, maybe postpone this when I'm feeling this certain way? And you just went on with it. And that is the type of stories we need to hear. Thank you so much. Moving on, I'm gonna move on to Melody. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Susan. Firstly, good morning, everyone. I just wanted to firstly thank the team at AWCA Milpark for this great initiative. I think it's always important to have women from different walks of life coming together to share their nuggets of wisdom. So thank you so much. And then also a thank you to my fellow panelists for taking time out on a Saturday morning, to come and share this wisdom. And then a warm welcome to our guests of honors. I think the most important people in this call, our attendees. So a very warm welcome to you guys. By way of introduction, my name is Miladi Maditi. I'm a 33-year-old qualified chartered accountant. And a little bit about myself, I'm from Lebakgomo in Limpopo province, at a small township just outside of Polokwane. And so my journey into accounting started in 2010. So that's when I did my matric year. And I think accounting chose me. I didn't choose accounting. So I was more of a sporting girl and I wanted to do sports management. But from the background I came from, my late dad was not going to have it. Like, how are you going to make money when you're in sports and you can see the situation we're in, So I sort of went into accounting because my older sister was doing it. I sort of had to look at my siblings and pick a profession between engineering, medicine, accounting, and I picked accounting. So I went to tax in 2011. And I think when you go into any profession without, the heart for it, you are going to set yourself up for failure. So I failed my first year at University of Pretoria. And I think that's when the turning point for me was to say that, do I really want to do this? Do I want to go into something else? And that's where my love for accounting really started, when I decided, let me give this a fighting chance. And I then finished my undergrad and my CTA. I then took the unconventional route. I went to go do my articles at the National Treasury. I was definitely not an audit girly. So I did not even want to give myself a fighting chance there. So I went to National Treasury, did my articles there and had a really great time and learned a lot. I then went to Hollard to work as a management accountant for a year and I didn't enjoy it. So because I'm not a tree, I moved. I then went to the South African Reserve Bank within the Prudential Authority for 2.5 years. And then I joined Nedbank, where I currently am, and I've been for 3 years as a finance specialist, specifically in the IFRS advisory team. So I also hold a master's in financial reporting, analysis and governance from UCT that I obtained last year. And just a little bit about myself outside of my profession. I'm a mom to a very beautiful and naughty 5-year-old girl. I love to travel the world. And I think that's the one thing the profession has given me, is the resources to travel and explore the world. I recently stopped drinking, so I'm trying to figure out my other hobbies. So I'm trying out new restaurants, new spas, and yeah. I think 2 things about the profession for me that I just want to echo is failure. I think Zama also spoke about failing and how it knocks your confidence. So I failed my first year, then I failed my APC first attempt as well. And for me, it was a blessing in disguise because I think I then developed a healthy relationship with failure, in that I take it as a learning opportunity. And I always think it's so important to share failure in platforms like this, because we need to be honest about how difficult the CA stream is. So it's important to not talk about just traveling the world, but talk about the amount of sacrifices we've had to put in during the journey. The second thing which I've learned towards the latter part of my career is just showing up as my authentic self. So corporate can be very cutthroat, and I think we get so entangled in climbing up the corporate ladder and this rat race that we forget to show up as our authentic selves and actually seek jobs that we really enjoy. So the one thing I've learned is to not just seek a job for the sake of money, but as well as for the sake of whether it's aligned with my principles, my life, my joy, and what I want to take out of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melody. Amazing, amazing story. And I think one thing that drew me to Melody is her advocacy for women to get an education, like go to school. That is one of the things I saw her post on her Twitter. And that's when I reached out to Melody. She advocates go to school, and it's been great for her. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. We'll get to hear more of it a bit later. Okay, moving on. Next on my side, it's Chantel. The floor is yours.
Everyone as well. So yeah, I think just to share a little bit about myself. My name is Chantal Mandere, and I think my CA journey started. Okay, I'm fairly young. I mean, I'm matriculated in 2018, so that says a lot, right? So my journey started, I think, when I was still in primary. So I went to Motel Primary School, which is a government school. Then I got a scholarship to then go to a private school. So I went to Deutsche Internationale Schule Pretoria. In short, it's a German school. And I think that's when, because now I'm exposed to resource, I'm exposed to, private school. So when I went to a private school, you know how it is, and sorry, but in Black culture, they're like, do science, because you never know, these economics thing, they call it commerce something. You never know where these things are not serious. But then fortunately, my school had an opportunity to do whatever you wanted. So I did do the science, I did your physics and your life science, but then I had the opportunity to then do accounting. And when I did my accounting, in our accounting class, we had a poster, a very big one, that showed the CA journey. And I was like, I knew that I want to dress up to work. I knew that I want to be a corporate girly. So I was like, how do I get into, looking nice for work and, wearing my corporate clothes? And I think that's how I got to know about like the CA journey, right? Because my teacher then explained. Then thank God I went to like a good school. So we got exposed to like what CAs do. We went to the JSE. So we did have trips, to say this is what a journey of a CA looked like. So I think that's how I then knew that, okay. And also I was really good at accounting. So I was like, okay, I think this is it for me, right? And they did say there's money. So yeah, I also went in there because they said there's money. So fast forward, yeah. Then I did study my BCom accounting at Nankosa. I graduated cum laude, top of my class, so I received the Top Achiever Award. And I think during that time I moved out of home. So I had to like self-fund, I had to figure my way out during my undergrad. Then after that, I went on to do my BCT and CT at Milpark. And that was tough because BCT and CT I've had to fully fund it. So with the undergrad, I did get like a bursary. So like the people that paid for my high school years and primary years continued paying again for the undergrad. Then Milpark came, it was a different story, so I had to pay for myself. So I think I relate with Zimkita to say I'm a fully funded, I self-funded girl, especially for CT and BCTA. Passed that on my first attempt. So the reason why I passed CT on my first attempt was the fact that money was hitting my account and it was not cute to see, so I couldn't pay it again, right? Then also during my CTA, that's when I started the AWCA Milpark Student Chapter. So I think when I look back and I see such events happening, and I'm like, when I started this thing, I was with this donkey and we didn't know what we're doing. Susan was part of the committee at the time, and I was just going with the flow, right? We're just doing this thing, say, how else can I be a vessel to other people? Because I know that, first of all, CTA was painful, and also just this CA journey is quite confusing and quite conflicting. So I think I just went on to say, let's start a platform that brings young people and possibly do this cool events, bring in like cool qualified people to share their journeys. So I think when I look back and see what Susan is doing with the team, and I'm so happy, I'm like, oh, this is what I started, that we started, and to see where it is right now. So currently I am doing my SAICA articles at BDO in the financial services. And I also do sit in the stakeholders, so the AWCA stakeholder committee. And outside of work and outside of work and possibly school. I am quite involved on LinkedIn. I try and help as much as I can. I know that the CA journey does get lonely, does get painful, especially, CTA, because I feel like CTA is like a defining moment in your CA journey. It could go really well, or it could go really bad. So I think I try and help and, mentor and carry people along to say it's not the end of the world if you fail, especially the working people, because it is demanding. So yeah, this is where we at, and that's my story.
Amazing story, Chantal. Like, it's really lovely. I think as someone who's like in your age group, it's really lovely to see somebody creating certain ways at that age, doing all that you are doing. You're like really an inspiration, to us students as well, young professionals. So keep doing the work that you're doing. Absolutely love it. Thank you. And then we're gonna move on to Olga. Olga, the floor is yours. Take it.
I hope everyone is well. My journey is a bit different, literally different compared to everyone, because I feel like I have a very interesting one. In grade 9, when we now were transferred to grade 10, my EMS as well teacher came. She's like, "Hey, your EMS is so nice. You might as well just do accounting." I looked at her, I'm like, "Yo." But anyways, it is what it is. Like, because I decided that I liked science. I knew that I am a science girl. I want to be in the science. Like Melody. Now I knew engineering is gonna be my thing or something in the science. So I did accounting with science. And we were like, "Oh my God, I should do that. You are so smart." I'm like, and then we moved on, and then I went to tax. Then I did my civil engineering there. And then I joined a society called Enectus. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but it's a very amazing entrepreneurial society. Then that's where my journey, if I may say, in terms of business and accounting then began, right? That's why all the time you're most likely gonna find me in a society or being involved in anything. Because then that's where I would say then I would find, a ways on getting to somewhere. I always say that I'm a very purpose type of girl. So I don't just choose something because I'm smart enough or anything, but there has to be a purpose in it. There has to be an impact in what I'm doing. Then I did engineering. I didn't really enjoy it, but I was very good at it. I think the other side of being what people would call smart is that you really have a lot of options, right? But then intentionality needs to come into place, right? The purpose type of thing then needs to come into place. Cool. Then in actors was, yeah, it was just this odd girl who's doing engineering, but it's always with the business people. But I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And then later on, after then I did my CA at NW, and then after I did my PGDA at Milpark. That's that. I don't wanna say much. I just want to say that just keep it very cute, because I think I have a very interesting or odd one. People already knew me. I was just that girl who didn't really, I don't want to say I didn't know, but yeah, who didn't really figure it out, first thing first. But I guess that's, through involvement, if I may say, or raising my hand in most cases, then I got to realize my purpose and get to realize that, oh, I think the interesting thing as well in terms of CA is that it was a platform where I don't really like money. I know a lot of people do. I don't really like money, but I wanted something that not only talks about money, but there has to be a benefit to it. There has to be an impact into it. You can't be saying you're making money, but where does it go, right? And I think CA then gave that platform, right, where you can say, okay, cool. When I get what you're saying, you don't like money, but then here are opportunities that you can do within the CA that perhaps maybe other professions wouldn't give you. So I just want to keep it that cute. And now currently I'm a trainee accountant at SNG, the best company, as Zama has mentioned. It's not me, So yeah.
Thank you so much, Olga. I think it's a lovely story to know that you might have started something in the beginning, done something completely different, but So you found your way to the CASA journey. Welcome to the journey, Olga. This is the right place for you. And we are happy to have you this side, not the science side. This is the main one. This is the profession that counts. Okay. So happy, to hear your story. And I think many people can also comment on that, that they've had that similar, they've had to make that decision in their life as well. Some might actually be in the process of trying to make that career change decision. And it can be scary because you've studied something, you've spent money. Now you're thinking, should I just leave this and start something completely different? It can be a scary choice to make, but yeah, kudos to you for making it work. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, moving on, I'm gonna move on to Olwetu. Olwetu, the floor is yours. Kindly just, share your journey with us, who you are, all that we need to know. Let's go.
Thanks, Susan. Good morning, everyone. So unlike the other panelists, I'm not a CA. I'm with the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, so the member body. So I'm currently a manager for the Tutuka Bursary Fund, specifically dealing with the undergraduates. And so as SAICA, we really do value the partnership that we have as the member organization, as a member body. For CAs, not only CAs, but also AGAs, Associate General Accountants, as well as accounting technicians. We do have 3 designations. So we really do value partnerships, and we really are thankful for this opportunity to be on this panel, Susan. So thank you so much for this invite. And just to, I guess, link where we come in as SAICA along the journey. So we really, aside from just being a membership organization where you pay your membership fees to, we obviously are involved in the exams process for the 2 board exams. The IAC has now taken a completely different shift in how it's written from the beginning of this year. But we also, at a grassroots level, are involved in various programs to try and promote the profession and to drive transformation. That's really something that we are invested in. And also the attractiveness of the profession, because we do understand that as much as we've ensured through our various, initiatives that there's access for with the women like us on this panel. We want to ensure that that door continues to be open for women, definitely. So at a grassroots level, we drive that agenda as well. And also on the professional side, ensuring that when people enter into the profession, they enter as people who are ethical, people who are valued, and people who know their thing, know their stuff. And so we drive professional education, training, as well as lifelong learning. And also we do provide the framework of what we would like to see as someone who is a chartered accountant, the skills that they would want to, or they would need to have to be chartered accountants, especially for the future. And so we also are very forward looking. And in all our programs and in all our endeavors, we are ensuring that when people enter into the profession, they enter as people who are fully fledged and ready for the place of work, as well as ready for the future, and bringing solutions to problems we don't even know of today. So looking forward to hearing from the rest of the panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Olwetu. Thank you for coming, to also represent the SAICA brand. I think when we're also planning this event, we're as AWCA, what we do also correlates with what SAICA also does. So it would be great if we can have somebody from SAICA to just, and let people know that it's accessible. When you get to meet people who work at the organization, people can understand that it's accessible. It's not distant. It's not something impossible. Let's bring the people here so that people can see that, yes, it's possible. And this is the work that SAICA is doing, to also give people more information about, this journey that they are on. They're going to be a part of, SAICA. How does it look? What is happening within SAICA? And I think it's great. Thank you so much. We are truly honored to have you here. When this was supposed to be an in-person event, SAICA and I were planning something also big for, for everyone. But now that it's online, it's fine. We'll collaborate in the future. We just want to say thank you for the support from SAICA. We really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, moving on. We're supposed to have Sis Danky. I'm not sure if she's here. I know she did join. I'll just check. I'll just give 10 seconds to find out she's here. Sis Danky, are you here? Because I'm not too sure. Taz was helping her out with a few stuff.
Let me know if you can hear and see me.
Yes, yes, we can
Okay.
hear and see you.
Okay, I think we are fine. Sorry, I had to log in and out because apparently I used the wrong link. My apologies for that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Danki Mukwena. And as a start off, I think let me just say how proud I am of the team for putting this together. A really, really great initiative. And I think there's so many nuggets already coming through, and we haven't even really started just in the introduction. So I think it's going to be a really amazing day. Background of how I found out about the CA career. I think I found out a bit late. I was already registered for my first year, and I was doing a BCom General Accounting degree. And how I got to do the BCom Accounting degree was I was good with accounting, but I was very interested in mining and mechanical engineering. And I had applied for bursaries for all those three options, and I got a Tutuka bursary. So I was like, okay, well, you don't have money to fund anything else. This is what you're gonna study. So I did BCom accounting. I'd actually applied before I got the bursary, so I didn't know there was a distinction between the BCom and accounting science. But luckily, I was able to change in my second year, and then I did the CA thing. And I think because of the exposure that I got at Wits University, I really got to see the opportunities that were within the career. So I think I fell in love with it quite early on. I used to attend a lot of events that were hosted by your R&Bs, your net banks, and so on. We would network and would meet a lot of different people. And we had organizations like your ABAS and AWCA that would come to Wits and give us different talks. And I think I really started seeing that really the world is your oyster, just, probably not as much money as we're promised, but it's your oyster. So I really got into it. And what I really started appreciating about it was the fact that I could incorporate my love for home. I guess the more the um practical side of things. I'm someone who likes to see things. So I want to know that we're selling a product. I can see it physically. So it gave me the opportunity to then, after my articles at Deloitte, to then get into mining, which was very close to what I wanted to do. And currently now I work within the oil and gas industry, which I absolutely love. I work at BP, so I'm going to give them free promo. So if you've got a car, please fill up at BP. So that we can make our sales. Absolutely great company. Really, really representative of what I believe in. There's a lot of representation, a lot of space for me to grow as a woman. So just a really, really great company to work for. And outside of my day-to-day job, so I work as a finance manager, but more on the business facing finance side, which is brilliant because the year before that I'd stepped out of finance completely, and I was working as a general manager within the logistics industry. So managing trucks and all of that, which really gave me good perspective for just running a business and an appreciation of what goes on behind behind what we see. So currently I then I interface between our finance teams and the business. So I sit in with the business and give, more of a financial advice kind of perspective, and also do the reporting for them once I receive the numbers from the finance team. So that's kind of what I do, nine to five. And then outside of that, I sit on the board of the AWCA. I look after the student chapters and learners. So quite proud of this event, proud of all the student chapters we have across the different universities. We are, obviously working to make sure that we have more footprint across all the different universities, and especially more around the high schools. I also look after the learners. And it's quite critical that for us, every Black girl hears about the accounting profession, because really it is transformative, and just because of the impact that I think women have once we, qualify, the kind of impact that we have on our families is, you can't measure it. So it's quite critical that, as the AWCA, we make sure that the story and the opportunities that come with being a CA, every girl child gets to hear about it, and we try to then support the Black boy as far as we can, and also just bring them along the journey, because we understand we're building very strong women, so we need the men to also be very capable, of handling that, and being walking the journey with us. So that's kind of what I do. Very, very passionate about it. Outside of work and the AWCA, I'm really someone that loves people. I have a book club, so I love reading. So I like bringing people together. I've got a book club that I absolutely enjoy. I love traveling. So I try travel as much as I can with as much leave as I have. And really testament of just the opportunities that this career really gives you. And then I also love tattoos, so I go to work with a sleeve covered of tattoos just to spice things up and not be the boring accountant. But really, I love life, and I've got a joy for life, and I'm just thankful to be here this morning with all of you guys, and looking forward to a really fruitful conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sistanki. That was awesome. I think one thing I want to take away from your story is exposure is very important, which is something you got during your undergrad. I feel very jealous when people mention that, because I was a COVID child during my varsity years. I had just left home. I'm saying I'm going to varsity in February. March, lockdown, I have to go back home. And I was super excited to finally have the freedom. Now it just gets taken away like that. And I was home for 2 years of my 3-year undergrad. So I was very bummed up about that. But yeah, no, I think exposure is very important. It helps you realize how much is out there, how far you can go, and yeah, live your life. So thank you so much for that amazing story. Really, really lovely. Okay, I think we've heard from all of our speakers. Hope I do not skip anyone. Don't worry, with regarding to questions in the charts, please, we will definitely attend to those a bit later. I see time is actually not even on our side anymore. And guys, regarding our giveaway, just to our attendees, we do have a giveaway currently going on. You would have seen our poster. So please share your answers in the chat. And then towards the end of the event, we'll just pick the top 3, and then you guys can read out your little stories, to see if you qualify for the run, and then we'll pick a winner for the 500 Rand voucher. So please share your inspirational stories, something that you wish you knew when you were younger, what you know now. How are you empowering women in your community, or how do you plan to do it? You might not have started, but how do you plan to empower, women in your community, because we need to pass this forward. You need to share whatever it is that you know. Let's connect, let's build one another, let's contribute, into one another. So please do share that in the chat, and then we'll pick a lucky winner towards the end of the event. Okay, we're going to move right in. We're going to move to the panel discussion number 1. And I just want to also encourage our speakers to, let's make this conversational. If you have anything to add after a certain speaker has spoken, add what you feel like it would be necessary to that topic. Let's communicate. Let's have a conversation. It's not going to be an interview type of situation. Let's make this, fun and open, and let's share as much as we can. Okay, with this one, basically, we want to dive into, the organizations around us. And it can be an organization or a person that has really inspired you or empowered you, somebody or someone that you feel like carried you into getting to where you are today. Like, who is that person? What is that organization? For example, is it AWCA? What did it do for you? Is it your current employer? Was it somebody in your family? How did they empower you, to become this person that you are today? So this is basically an open-ended question for all of our attendees to, feel free to just, have the conversation, sharing about who empowered you, what empowered you, what are you advocating for in this case when it comes to you having some kind of support. Because I think one thing is for sure, the CA journey, you need support. You're not going to do this alone. It's a mental journey, rather than an academic journey. It's very mental. What can we put into our daily lives. Who can we go to for help if we need assistance with something? Who was that person, in your life, that organization? So yes, I'm just gonna pick somebody random. I'll start with Zama. Please do share with us, what is that organization? Who is that person that empowered you to become the person you are today, and who still continues to empower you?
Thank you so much for that, Susan. I think I've already mentioned the first person who really empowered me was my mom. And yeah, she's the one who actually planted the dream of becoming a CASA. And whenever I'm achieving something, I always think about, oh my God, if Mausa like what would have been, and I know that she'll be very happy for me and she'll be so proud of me with all of my achievements. So I think that's the first person. But I would love to mention the fact that whenever you are in a workplace, it's very important to engage with other phenomenal women, especially the women leaders. So just a bit of an experience when I was doing my first year of articles, I basically had challenges because I come out fresh from varsity, and now I don't know what is expected from me in the real world. I'm a first year trainee. I don't even know how to test bank and cash, things like that. So basically I had a lot of difficulties when I was doing my first year, in a sense that I needed a senior, I needed a mentor, I needed someone who would be very patient with me, to walk through me the journey, to be very patient with me and teach me each and everything that I needed to know, or what is expected from me as a trainee. So why am I saying it was a difficult year? Because that knocked my confidence. I felt like I wasn't enough, I wasn't good enough, and I felt like audit is all about delivering the work and all about chasing the deadlines. So I had that mentality that, okay, I need to be present at work, I need to make sure that I finish my working papers, I sign them off, and that's all. That's all about work. Until on my second year, there was a new audit manager that was hired. And basically, we had a heart-to-heart conversation with her. She said to me, I feel like there is more of you. I feel like there is more of Uzama rather than the Zama that I see right now. So basically, she saw the potential and she saw something that I couldn't see myself, in a sense that she challenged me to take on bigger tasks, to assume senior roles when I was still doing my second year, to get out of comfort zone in a good way. So I felt like that was basically a life-changing moment for me. And that's where I realized that actually audit is not about delivering. It's not about chasing the deadline. It's all about collaboration. It's all about inspiring. It's all about empowering. It's all about learning something from each other, and also, make the profession to be visible and make the profession to be, visible. So that is what I learned from her. And when I finished my articles, I actually got an award of being an Employee of the Year, which was something I've never imagined myself getting in the audit world, because I felt like this is not for me, especially when I was doing my articles while I was doing my CTA as well, because that was a quite not nice and quite challenging time for me. That was why I said it was amazing. And yeah, so I think that is one person that really inspired me, and that is one person that saw the potential in me, and there is one person that basically empowered me to put myself out there, to voice my concerns whenever I have concerns, and to realize that actually I am capable and I'm the girl that I think I am. And I carried that spirit into my journey as a lecturer, and I always discover new things about me. So whenever I'm achieving something, I always pop her a WhatsApp message and let her know that actually I'm making progress in this thing. So that is one person I would say that really inspired me. There are a lot of people, to be quite honest, there are a lot of women, especially in the committee that I'm currently in, which is the AWCA KZN Executive Committee. There are a lot of women that I collaborate and engage with in everyday life that really empower me. But one thing I would say that very important, especially in this profession, is be the senior that you needed as a junior. Be kind to that particular junior that you are allocated to. And if you see someone struggle, please be kind to her and please be patient with that person, because that person will never forget you. Like I said, I will never forget that particular audit manager, even until now. So yeah, that is what I can say. It's very important to empower each other, and it's very important to be the senior that you needed as a junior. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sama. Okay, the next speaker, anybody reading can go on and, share who inspired them, the organization, and then we'll just make it conversational. So you're welcome to rotate around the topic and to just tackle it as best you can. Thank you.
I guess the thumbs up was for me, Susan, I'm assuming. I think I'm going to be a bit biased with this one. Of course, there are people in my life that have inspired me, but I think when I tap into an organization it's the AWCA, given that, like I said, I was the chairperson of the AWCA Milpark Student Chapter last year. And what happened is I got exposed to a lot of people, right? I think during my chairpersonship, right, I got exposed, I have so many connections that I was able to build. So I think in doing that, the organization opened these people to me. There are people that are significant or big people within the industry, and I can be like, no, I know I have their number. I talk to this person, ask for guidance. We have a chat. So I think for me, AWC definitely did empower that in me. And I think moving forward, I'm carrying the same spirit to say, how can I then empower other people, right? How can I then offer the same platforms to other people? So a little bit biased, but it's my honest truth. And it is what it is, man.
I see. Is there a way, a roller thingy, or what you can just speak? Okay.
You can go.
So I think for me, and just looking at the audience that I have, I've had a lot of people that obviously I've crossed paths with during my journey. And they've made a lot of a positive impact, some positive, some not so positive. But the best one, mindful of the audience here. And also I'm distracted because I see that my daughter has just put something on the chat. I just saw that Ramurata is here. Thank you, my baby, for joining. So when I was in my first year of articles, it was year 2000, that should show how old I am. I actually, when I started my articles, I realized that I needed to be able to communicate in English. My written English was quite great, but the actual communication was not good. So I actually found the voice clinic, and it was a lot of money, about 4,000 rands, and I then didn't have that money because I was still a first year article clerk. And then I went to HR and everybody to say, can you please fund this for me? And they declined it. It was like, we're not even gonna do it. And I had a counselor, a Jewish guy, Gary Berzek, and I went back to him. I'm like, I'm not understanding why they're declining this, because it's going to make me better, at my job. And then he says, no, go back to them and say, whether they pay for this or not, you will do it, right? You will find money somewhere. You will still have to take leave to do it and whatever. 2 days, like, we can give you a loan and then you can do this and whatever. And it was paid for. And then when I went back to Gary, and he actually said to me, Zimkita, you cannot rely on the same systems that were designed to keep you down, to propel you forward. And that is, for me, the best advice that I can give to young people who are still at varsity, is to say the best investment you can make in yourself is self-investment. And I am not sure who I wish I had seen who is in the audience. Black women, we do a lot of things other than investing in ourselves, right? I am on Twitter and people are like, I want to make my own bed and wash my own dishes. And it's not going to give you, I mean, if I want to be a CA, we need to investing in IFRS tax. You know what I'm saying? So we do a lot of things other than investing in ourselves, preparing for an audit committee meeting. The world is already anti-Black. It's anti-Black women. You have to be prepared. Unfortunately, that is the reality of the situation. So for me, money can be lost, positions and accolades can be taken away, but the skills that you build, right, and you own, the mindset that you cultivate and actively work on cultivating, the networks that you nurture can never, those are the assets that no one can ever take away from you. And we need then to be intentional in investing in ourselves. And when I talk to young Black people who I say to them, self-investment is actually even more of a priority than Black tax. I've seen now people saying Black tax doesn't exist. It does exist. And because I've seen young people having been tasked to build houses with their training money. So it does exist, right? So self-investment is more of a priority before you build your mommy house, because then you're opening doors for yourself. That when you actually are a CEO, you can actually do more than if you stuck at a financial manager level and you have not invested in yourself. People who are in the training contracts, please invest in speaking up. When I was at KPMG, I'm the nicest partner that you can ever meet. I would go and set people up, and then all the young Black kids are sitting in the background, not asking questions, not putting their hand up. And I'm not a scary partner. So it gets worse than if it's another person from another race or another gender, because then they ignore you, right? So, I mean, the best thing you can invest in is your technical skills, your ability to speak up, because the biggest currency you can have as a young woman, as a young Black woman, is the ability to speak up, to actually advocate and lobby for yourself, lobby for your humanity, because the world is not going to do it for you. And then the last thing is to actually remember that when we actually invest in ourselves, right, we actually not investing in our own future. I've invested in my daughter's future. I'm a divorced single mom for 17 years. And as a part of a backlash from that divorce, I found myself sole parenting and sole providing for the past 17 years. And I've been able to give my Ramurata like a life that even two-parent homes could not give their children. So I invested in my child, but for me as well, I use my money to meet young people in the profession. I pay for the lunches and whatever. So we're not only investing in ourselves, we're investing in our communities. For me, I invest in the future leaders of this country, because the narcissist in me thinks that I can extend my mortality through the stories they will tell about me. So that's why I'm investing so hard, and I'm so active and visible in the profession. So the one thing that I want to leave you today with is, please ask yourselves, what are those few investments that you need to start to do today? I can give you an afternoon and think about it for tomorrow, that will actually make you a different future leader, right? That you know your future self, your children, if you choose or not choose to have, I mean, that is up to you, or your future, the profession, the people in the profession, your communities. What are those investments you need to make in yourself, right? That your future self will thank you for. And please be intentional in investing in yourselves. Thanks.
Thank you, Simkifa. If I can just jump in, Susan, sorry. I think I really echo what all of the speakers have said. And I think the people for me that have really encouraged me with where I am within my career is my family, the peers that I kept around me in varsity, the peers that I still keep today. But I also want to echo something that I've seen in the chat, which resonates with me. There's an unknown user. Unfortunately, I can't see the name on my side. They've spoken about their journey and they've said, through it all, my faith in God has also given me strength and a sense of purpose. And I resonate so greatly with that because I think with everybody else that's pushing me, the organizations, the people, family, but my faith is what has kept me going. You know, the belief that God's given me the strength and capabilities to carry all of this out, for me is such an important thing to note as well, that once you understand what your purpose is, you are really able to take on everything. So just to echo that, for me, my faith as well and my belief in God is what's gotten me to where I am today.
Thank you so much, Melody. Zinhle, your hand is up. You can go.
Thank you so much, Susan. I mean, everything that everyone has said is so powerful. And the thing that I wanted to add is similar to Zama, my mom is a powerhouse. So witnessing that in my household, someone who is a renowned businesswoman, who's been managing director, who sits on boards, etc., is an easy way to be empowered just by growing up with that woman. That also extends to her group of friends and her active network. She's got a really, really close-knit group of friends. She's got many, many friends, but this particular group, she calls her sisters with a Z for life. And things you take for granted because these are the women who watched me grow up as when I was a child. They're all around you and you don't really know what they do. I've come to learn at my big age, we've got HR experts in that little council of 12 people. We've got businesswomen, we've got medical doctors, we've got people in education, no CAs though. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn from their experience. So just sitting, I guess the point I'm trying to make in terms of empowerment is just sitting and listening to people around you, to people you have access to people you may not take seriously because they knew you when you were 4 years old and they shouted at you sometimes. Has been something that's led me to be the kind of leader and phenomenal woman that I am, just because I've been surrounded by them. So take advantage of people in your close-knit networks. No one will say no to a conversation, in theory.
No, thank you so much. Thank you. And to everyone who has shared, how their organizations have empowered them. Thank you so much. Olga, I'm also gonna hand off to you. There's someone that I'm missing on the call, but I'll think about it quickly. Olga, if you can also just share the organization that has empowered you or someone that has empowered you. Who is that person? Which organization is it? What did they do for you? Just, yeah. Or was it yourself? You can also empower yourself. It doesn't have to be another person, honestly. One person could have empowered themselves. So yeah, the floor is yours.
It's you putting me on the spotlight with myself. But thank you very much. I think I did say, and someone in the chat was like, I'm promoting other societies. So at least now you're giving me the power, the form to actually, promote. But like I said, the first person then would be my EMS teacher from grade 9, right? Who was like, no, I mean, you are the girl that you think you are in this subject, even though I was like, right? And then moving on as well, then to varsity. I think I want to say to the self where then it would be me having to be involved. The decision that I made that I want to join in Actors, right, or raise in my hand, it was then the self-investment as well, right? I think the motivation in joining in Actors, it was because of engineering, because they did projects that had to do with real life solutions, right? The projects that I was involved with was a solar energy type of, we're building a solar energy light bulb, right? But then they also were like, not only are we doing this, we want this to be a business that it produces profit, it impacts people as well, but then also it is green, right? Sustainable. And that is, if you get to look at my journey in most cases, then you will see that in most cases, I'm always involved with things that have to do with impacting people as well. A little bit of money, but then, but then we also go, it has to be sustainable as well. So that is that I think has really helped me. But then I don't know why Chantel did not put my name up and say that last year I was also part of the ESCO. You know what? We need to have a chat because I was a vice chair. Even last year when fast forward to last year when Chantal came and went like, can we have this, group of girls, we're forming this and everything. I raised my hand up again, and she says a lot, our conversation a lot last year where dude, we really do not know much, but whatever that we do, we are figuring it out together. And the support, and I think it was since Danke as well was just mentioning how she's involved with us. She was one person that we're quite, we got to form a very good relationship with, right? And they opened up a community of other, not only women, but also just a community of women and brands, if I may say, or women, and brands where now we have really personal relationship, right? But also just to go into my academic, the reason why I'm saying, I think earlier I was just saying Zama, and I'm saying my lecturer, and I know she knows me, is because then consistently I was making her in my academics. She knows my name. She can't say she does not know me, please, right? Because she knows that I was making her, and I'm that girl where in any platform where I'm involved in, you there has to be an impact. You have to know my name. I make it a mission that I get intentional in being involved, being it academically, right? Then as well, now that I'm working, I'm also sort of that girl where you would probably know my name, because then I ask the questions, right? Zimkita was talking about how, other women will be at the, no, me, I'll be at the front. I'll be asking you questions. I'm going to nag you, until I get it, right? So it goes back to saying that not only is it that there were opportunities that were handed to me, but I also think that I saw them and I'm like, I really do not know, but I'm really gonna give this a chance. And I don't wanna say much about even my mom. Melody was even talking about the faith, right? My mom, I always brag about how my family I would die for my family because they're such an amazing support system, right? And if there's anything as well about me, Susan is also another witness that I will support you. I'll give you that support because I also know that I come from a community of people that really support me. So yeah, I think that is all I get, Susan.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Olga. Thank you. And I can confirm I do receive support from Olga. She's really there. When I need assistance with something, I want to, get a different perspective. I'll just call Olga and she'll pick up. And that is amazing. We all need people like that in our lives to know that if you just give them a call, you trust that they'll pick up. Even if they're busy, they might get back to you, but you know that they're there for you. And it's important for us to have those people in our lives who we can also count on. So thank you so much, ladies. We're just gonna, change things up a little bit, just to, calm down a little bit. So we're gonna have a poet, who's just gonna, hit us with a few words here and there, just to also motivate us to just, change the energy level. So we have Amogelang Aisha Ramatena. Kindly confirm, if you can hear me and your mic is on, everything is working. Otherwise, the floor is yours.
I can hear you very well. Good morning, everyone. I hope all of you are well and blessed. I'm so delighted to be here. The CA journey is definitely not easy. I'm seeing with the amount of years that you're putting in. So this is for you. It is titled Beside Her. My eyes fell upon a mirror, and inside that mirror was a woman staring back at me. A woman who tried her best to always walk with faith and held high. I walked beside her, saw all the time she had to show up despite her fragile days, felt the bruises she pretended did not exist as if they were my own, read through her like the palm of my hand. Inside that woman, there was a girl, a story untold, of battles fought, of treasures lost, of days filled with unhappy and happy tears. She wore her scars like a crown, heavy with the weight of her experiences, but she held on. She stood tall, and was the perfect example of resilience. Beside her were women of strength a generation hardly spoken of, a lineage of bold stories of treasures lost and no room for laughter because they always had to show up for their families. Behind those women were years of resilience, physical and emotional endurance, no award for their bravery. It is the tears behind their stories that remain unseen, avoided at best, untold. But that should not change the fact that they show up for their loved ones. Women, they are a remarkable species. This one, however, is special. With years of resilience, she is a phenomenal woman. Behind her, years of study. Inside her, a student that never looked back, who never let taxation, financial accounting, or even auditing stop her for reaching for the stars. She is a phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you so, so, so much, Aisha. That was amazing. Thank you. And nothing is going to stop us, not auditing, tax, financial reporting, management accounting. Nothing is going to stop us. Thank you. Thank you so much for that beautiful poem. Much, much appreciated. Okay, again, we just also have we're going back to our game. Just gonna take a few minutes to just play, the game. Again, reset the mood before our next serious panel discussion. So we're just gonna try again to play our game, and then just let me know. We already have people who have joined the game. So, this is the time where we're now gonna play the game. I'm just gonna share my screen. Please do let me know if you can see it and everything is working. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, Susan.
Perfect. Thank you. You are welcome to scan the QR code to join. So, the panelists, the speakers can also play along with the game. You are definitely more than welcome. This is just a fun game. If the QR code may be too small, please just kindly zoom in on your side. But we have shared the link to the quiz on your side. So just click on the link. You can choose join with Google or join with Google with your Gmail account, and you should be able to join the game. This is just a fun game. It's not too accounting related, just something fun, and yeah, just to reset the mood. And also I'm gonna start the game. I'm just gonna give everyone 10 seconds in case anybody's still trying to join, so that we can just have this game quickly. We're actually behind schedule as it is, but you know what, let's do everything that we had planned. So yeah. Okay, people are joining. I'm just gonna give it a few more seconds. Okay, we are starting. I hope everybody's ready. We might consider your results here for the giveaway as well. So you better make sure that you participate and participate very well. Okay, we are starting. Okay, so you have 10 seconds. And the first question is, when is National Women's Day celebrated in South Africa? Hey, you'll see the leaderboard towards the end. When the game is over, you'll see the top 3 people, the top achievers. But basically, I hope everybody got this question correctly. The answer should be the 9th of August. If you picked anything else, my sister, we need to have a talk, because we need to have a talk. Okay, we're going to move on to our next question. It's going to go pretty quickly because it's 10 seconds per question. Okay, next question. This former public protector became famous for standing up for justice and ethics in South Africa. Who is she? Hey, Gaugelo. Oh, and Sis Dankie is leading. Oh my goodness. Guys, the competition is on. Okay, moving on to our next question. Who is South Africa's first Black female chartered accountant? Guys, I'm judging anyone who chose Maria Ramos. Like, it's not even an African name. Come on. Okay, moving on to the next question. We have 10 questions. We're now moving on to question number 4. Who is the first female Auditor General of South Africa? Guys, this Dank is wiping the floor with everyone here. Okay, no, I'm happy with at least 22 of, what is this, 28 responses or something. Yeah, no, looking good, looking good. Okay, next question. What item would you most likely find in a woman's handbag? Okay, who chose soccer ball? I think probably the guys in this call that just decided they know the answer, but no, we're gonna go with what we want. Okay, next question. What gift do women usually prefer the most? Wow, I think this one was obviously subjective. Like it could have been either or. We went with money, because then when you have money, you can get the chocolates and the flowers yourself, right? Okay, got it. So we're gonna move on to the next question. Finish the lyric. Who ran the world? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about the one who chose men, but it's fine. We are happy. We are happy. Question 8. Who is the founder of the global beauty brand Fenty and also a successful business mogul in the music and fashion industry? Okay, okay. Happiness, looking good. Okay, we're going to move on to question number 9. So 2 questions left to redeem yourself. Who was the first female deputy president of South Africa? Okay, looking good, looking good. Yeah, I knew this one would be a bit difficult, honestly, because those are all top names here. And yeah, you can get confused if you're not exactly sure. But lovely responses. We're going to move on to the last question. So you have one last chance to redeem yourself and to somehow come out on top. The quicker you answer, the more scores you get. So that's a tip. I'm telling you this on the last question. Okay, last question. In double entry bookkeeping, what does every debit need? Okay, I'm gonna assume people who chose bank slip, they might not be accounting students, and that is okay. You are forgiven. You are forgiven. Okay, guys, we've come to the end of our little quiz. We're gonna review the results, the top winners, and let's see who the winners are. So the system will pick the top 3. Okay, I'm not sure who's 414728, but congratulations to you, Anonymous. Thank you so much for dominating the game. And yeah, thank you to everybody who attended in this game. I think it was just meant to be something fun, engaging, nothing too serious. So I hope you got that from the game, and we are all energized for the next session. Okay, guys, so we are moving on to our next segment. Yeah, guys, unfortunately, there's no breaks. Time is like not on our side. We're moving on to the next segment, which is our panel discussion number 2. Nombuso Kaba is going to be in charge of this next segment. So just give her a warm round of applause. She's going to be taking the speakers through that next panel discussion and just diving deeper again into the speakers and sharing more about themselves. So Nombuso, kindly confirm if your mic is working and everything.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear. Sorry.
Okay. My name is Unumbuso Kaba, and wow, what a day. I'm so inspired. I'm still a student. I'll be doing my CTA next year. It's so reflection and like inspiring to have you all here, because you see that actually you can literally make it. It's so inspiring, and thank you very much. So my task, I'm just gonna call the name, and then the person that I'm calling, they will just engage. Please feel free. So I'll start with Usizama. So how women can empower each other, especially in collaboration over competition. So my question is, in a professional space where women are sometimes made to feel like there are limited seats at the table, which can fuel competition rather than collaboration from a perspective, how can women shift this mindset and actively create spaces where they uplift, mentor, empower each other instead of competing against one another? Could you please share, Sizama, like the practical ways young professionals or CA students that they can apply in their daily journey?
Thank you so much, Nombus. I think that's an interesting one. And one thing, like maybe if I can mention two things. The first one is trying to create a safe space for each other. Women, they thrive when they feel safe, when they feel supported, when they feel encouraged, when they feel empowered. So that is where we thrive the most. We don't thrive when we feel uncomfortable. So I would say that's the most first thing that I can mention, is to try and create a safe space for each other. When you see someone who's struggling, try and be their safe space, and try to be opening as possible. Like Zimkita has mentioned, she is the nicest audit partner. So we need more people like her in this profession, so that whenever you are encountering some difficulties, it could be in a workplace, it could be in academics, it could be anywhere actually, so that that person can actually come to you and be approachable. So I would say try and open your door, try and be nice as possible, and try and be kind as possible. And now I don't mean in this profession only, I mean outside of the profession as well, because you cannot be nice in the office and be a monster outside. So try and, be as accommodating as possible. It could be a church as well. A lot of people, they go to church because they need comforts, because they need support, and because they are going there for the Lord, for comforts from the Lord. So try by all means to be as welcoming as possible. And also, I'm talking from a perspective of being a pastor's kid as well. My dad is a pastor, so I try by all means to be welcoming to abazalwane from my church. Try and create a safe space for them, so that whenever they have issues, it could be at church, it could be outside of church, I am their go-to person. So I try by all means to do that, because I feel like whenever we are safe, that is where we thrive the most. Number two, try to make the profession to be as attractive as possible, in a sense that represent yourself, in a sense that a young professional or even a high school learner can be like, I want to be a CA because of the way you present yourself to the public, to the people, the way you communicate with to the people as well. I think before we started this event, I did mention that I follow Zimkita on LinkedIn, and she's one of the people where I was like, oh my goodness, I just want to continue with the CASA stream, because I used to, read her posts, like her post on LinkedIn when I was still going through a difficult time in my journey. And we need more people like her in this profession, to make this profession to be representable as possible and also attractive as possible. And also the last thing I would say, show up. Even if you don't feel well, even if you feel like you are, encountering some of the difficulties, try to show up as possible, in a sense that whenever you are showing up, show up intentionally, constantly and intentionally. Whenever you are engaging with people, try to engage with those people intentionally and also constantly, so that you can get some of the things that you did not know they exist in this world. For example, I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, AWCA, the KZN committee, they hosted an event called Wealth and Wellness. And I was part of the event. So one thing that I learned from there is that sometimes you just need to show up and show up intentionally and, you know, put yourself out there, network with other people, because you wouldn't know there are opportunities that are existing there that you did not know because you did not show up, because you do not want to engage. And that is one thing that I've learned as well in this profession, that it's very important to show up, and it's very important to engage constantly. And lastly, please make sure that you are kind to yourself. That is the most important thing. And also in my current role, that is one thing that a lot of people that I engage with in my current role, they always tell me, you need to be kind to yourself, because some of the things we are still learning, you wouldn't expect yourself to know a lot of things, especially when you're still new in the role, and also especially when you are still new into this profession. There are so many things that you wouldn't know, and also there are so many things that you wouldn't learn in one day, you know, so you need to constantly do them until you achieve that perfection. So one thing that I can also mention is to make sure that we are kind to ourselves and also to each other. But I would say one of the most important thing is to create a safe space for each other so that we can thrive together. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suzama. I love the fact that, like, to show up, always show up. I think that hit home because my journey has been so different in such a way that I don't have both parents. So I had to work to start the articles in a very small firm. And when I started my articles, I was very vulnerable and I was so scared. I couldn't like speak. I was not confident. And I had to dig and sit down and dig to say, okay, Nombuso, now we are here. How are we showing up? How can you boost your confidence? You know, I was not able to speak like this in a huge panel of people. I was so scared, always have panic attack. I was a mess. So I started like having mentor. Like I approached people on LinkedIn. I had a mentor, and then I started like going to this event whereby I will have, even though I was not talking to people, I'll just be in the corner there, listen. But as time goes by, I was able to connect. Now I don't feel lonely. I'm not lonely. Like I know that I can, like Chantel is a phone call away, you know, hey, I'm struggling with Mac, I'm struggling with this. So it really did help me. So I had to be intentional and show up. So thank you so much, Suzama, for that. So another one is for Iago Sizindle. So using our career, sorry.
Sorry, Nombu. So Ameladi has her hand up. If she can just quickly go.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I just wanted to, sorry, echo on the one that's just been discussed about like being in the background. So same thing with me when I went into my articles, I was very quiet in the background, not doing anything. I didn't attend any AWCA ABASA events. I sat in my little corner and I thought, you know what, it's okay. I think it also goes according to your personality. I just thought that like, I don't want to be involved in these things. It's okay. Let me do my work and go home. And I realized that was to my disadvantage because there's so much information I could have learned at a very early stage in my career, you know, and it would have also taught me to show up differently the way I show up in my work now. So I know it can be very daunting to say, I'm sitting in a room with Zama, I'm sitting in a room with Zintle, or any of the other panelists, and this can be scary. These are people I look up to. But the fact that these people are sitting on those platforms, are in those rooms, it means they want to be there. It means they want to be engaged. So as daunting as it is, I would encourage the students and the younger professionals that when you find yourselves in these spaces, ask the questions, put your hand up, and build your confidence and your voice within your various professions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. And may I please say that each and every speaker has like 6 minutes to wrap up because of time. So, Sizinhle, using your career to make an impact, especially in mentorship, volunteering, advocacy, many young professionals aspire not just to build a successful careers, but also to use their skills and influence to make a real difference, whether through mentorship, volunteering. From your own journey, how have you balanced career growth and creating impact? And what advice would you give to a CA student on wavering purpose and impact into their professional path from the very beginning?
Thanks, Nombuso. Please excuse my voice. To start off, in terms of using your career to make an impact, there are two things that immediately come to mind for me. The first being make yourself visible, and the second being make yourself available. So the first point, from a visibility perspective, if people don't know that the CA qualification exists, then they actually can't pursue it. And from the discussion we've had today, a lot of the panelists were introduced, including myself, to the possibility of a CA profession through engagement with high school teachers, from their mom, just outside factors that showed them the way. The second, and if they don't know, if someone doesn't know about the opportunities that are available, because every single organization, every single company needs an accountant. So if they don't know that these opportunities exist within the various industries, wherever you want to end up, transport, rail, education, then they can't even start to put themselves there. In my career, the things that I've done to impact from a visibility angle is participating in events such as today. Thank you very much, AWCA, for affording me the time to be here. I also do talks as a guest speaker at universities when invited. I get onto the radio to talk about myself and the rail industry. And then because I'm in the industry, from an organization perspective, I personally undertake initiatives that will bolster women participation in rail. For example, Traction started The Future of Rail is Women campaign. And that was to try and get high school girls. So we targeted girls in high school within the community of our Roslyn facility to come to our workshop, spend the day there, engage with different people within the rail industry, not necessarily just finance, but everyone across the board, and understand that although rail has always been male dominated, that there's still space for you. They wouldn't know if we didn't put ourselves front and center. And for our inaugural event, I was the MC. I've also provided tours around the facility and just stood on a stage, made people say like, oh, they're letting this Black woman stand on a stage and speak. She must be important before I've even opened my mouth. So that visibility is of paramount importance. Secondly, from an organization perspective, we have initiated a Traction Win Women in Leadership Network, where mentors are assigned with mentees to then assist them on their journey within the organization. I'm one of the mentors on that platform. And once again, people think like, oh my goodness, I'm sitting next to the CEO, CFO, I'm talking to a CFO. Take it down to a human level, because that's all we are at the end of the day, human beings, and engage and make yourself visible and approachable. The second point, what does it mean to make yourself available? For me, and I know a lot of people say this and might not mean it, but I mean it when I say my door is always open. If anyone wants to engage with me, get advice or guidance, they are avenues which you can get a hold of me. And it's up to me then to say yes or no. The fact that I'm even sitting on this panel today was through a LinkedIn message. I got friended, I accepted, so I'll accept everyone's invites. Got a message to say, would you please participate in this? And I said, I'm out of the country, but if I'm around, then definitely. And that's what it means to make yourself available. For the students on this platform, I cannot stress you enough that it is really, really as simple as sending that message. Send that LinkedIn message. There's someone who inspires you, someone you want to get a little FaceTime with. Find them on LinkedIn, find them on whatever platforms you can, and send that message. It is very, very, very unlikely that they will ignore you or say no. Once again, we are all human beings. I do understand the other side, right? That we're all career girlies chasing the lives of our dreams. On that, you can work and you can provide support to other people. Whether it's a 5-minute conversation, a quick text, a hour-long session that you plug into your diary after hours, depending on how busy you are, there are those who need that engagement. So just affording them time. So many people can benefit from just hearing about your journey. And that's difficult to reconcile, right? Because you're just living your life. I saw in the chat, someone was like, can I talk them through my path to CFO? I didn't know I was going to be a CFO. I can tell you how I got here, but when I started my article journey, the end goal wasn't necessarily to be CFO. I didn't know what a CFO does. I didn't know what accounting meant, outside of high school. So living your life is someone else's inspiration. Living your life could help someone else spark a light. And it's not always thankful work. Not everyone will come back and say, thank you, Zinhle, you did this for me and that for me. And it honestly doesn't matter. You've done what you can to help empower the next person, to help them grow in their career through a short session. You've given them the possibility of a different future. Thanks.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zinhle. Thank you so much. Because of time, I'm not gonna add anything. Let me just Usizim Kita. This one, tackling workplace bias and discrimination. So, Usizim Kita, bias and discrimination in the working environment can often be difficult to identify and even harder to confront, especially for young professionals starting out in their careers. From your perspective, how can women recognize these challenges early, and what strategies can they use to address them while still building strong professional relationships? What role do allies, both males and female, play in creating more inclusive in workplace?
Okay, it is a lot. I'm going to try to break it down, right? The first thing you asked is how do you recognize biases? If you feel bad, you likely have someone in the midst of someone, who is unethical. And I always say that one of the things that we don't teach our children is acknowledge the harm and hurt that has been done to them. If you feel hurt and harmed, it is highly likely that someone has actually harmed you. So that is, how you recognize that, and you need to acknowledge that that's what has happened, right? So I always say to my daughter, you can doubt people's words, you can doubt their action, but what you can never doubt is how they made you feel, because how they made you feel was their intention. So that's the first thing. How do you recognize? And then the second one is, how do we tackle these biases in the workplace? They do exist. I write a lot. Please follow me on LinkedIn, because I'm not going to be able to summarize this in 6 minutes. Corporates, they call it a lot of things, these unethical behaviors, right? They will call it microaggressions. They will call it inherent biases. They call it unconscious biases. It is all unethical behavior, because we as victims know, right, on the receiving end, you can call it all sorts of nicknames. I mean, I said at KPMG to someone, was like, oh my goodness, oh, it was an inherent bias. And I said to him, I don't care what you and your environment nicknames unethical behavior, right? To me, it is unethical behavior, because remember, as a victim, we are very clear about how this made us feel, right? So you can call it whatever you want, but you will not change my mind as to how this made me feel. And how it made me feel was it was unethical behavior. So corporate politics, whatever, those things do not exist. It's just corporates being lazy to confront harmful and hurtful people in their midst. And then they do exactly what patriarchy does, and then transfer the responsibility to the victims to actually carry the response. Rather than actually addressing the harmful people, they transfer that to the victims. It happens it happens in our societies as well. In these GBV abusive situations, what happens? What did you do to him? So the victim now has to carry that responsibility. That's what happens in corporate. 10 years ago, I had I'm an activist, and so I find myself in a lot of spicy situations. So I would actually confront people and wanting to prove and how wrong they are. I've changed my stance on how to deal with biases as I've grown older, and I've actually made instead of me trying to fix people, because I've realized that I'm fighting reality. The reality is the world will be biased, right? Especially for people like me who carry both identifiers of oppression, which is I'm Black and a woman, right? I did not raise them. The fact that they go around the world spreading harm, it is their parents' responsibility, not my responsibility. So the first thing that I read about said, please depersonalize harmful behavior, because people should not be spreading harm into the world or hurt into the world. What we teach people is to personalize harmful behavior. Oh my goodness, he's so ungrateful to me. No, he is ungrateful. It ends right there. You can remove yourself, he probably will be ungrateful to the next person, right? Oh, they were so racist to me, they're just racist, right? So we personalize this, and therefore we actually now internalize it, and then we actually take the responsibility for their behavior, right? You actually have to understand where is the harm originating from, and then you don't want then to have any mutuality with people who hurt or harm other people. You don't want their respect. Why would you want their respect? You don't want any positive opinion from them about you, but also you cannot correct them. It's totally impossible. And then the second thing then that is very important is, especially in the profession, is to understand that you are in this profession as a function of your capacity, your capability, your skills, your talents. So whatever bias that is there in this profession, we already eliminate it when you apply. So there are no exams for Black women here or Black people, or everyone writes the same exam, right? So then you have to actually do the internal work of saying, I know who I am. I know if I was not capable to be in this profession, I would not have been in this profession, right? Because we've got matrices to get people in here. So it is impossible then to actually believe someone and someone says, oh my goodness, Mkita is so useless, right? It is not possible, because we do not admit useless people into our profession. So the second one is to anchor your own skills. And then the third thing that you need to do is, what are my skills? What do I need to do to invest? Self-invest. Because anytime people have biases, they will attack you on the smallest of things. When I started speaking, I was working for SAICA. And you could see that these people actually, they hated the idea of a Black woman standing in front of them, teaching them something, right? They hated it. So then they would actually send, because as SAICA, you get forms back, not to give you. And they would write the most incredulously cruel things, like, oh my goodness, I could hear her breathing through the speaker or through the mic, or she mispronounced a word, right? But so I would get a very nice rating of about 3.5 or to 4 out of 5. But the people who were biased were committed to writing comments, right? And you see those comments. But you have to push on, because you actually have to understand that it's not coming from a place of this is of reality. It is their own delusion, right? they had been taught all their lives. Because remember, at that stage, I would go to George, to Cape Town, they have been taught all their lives that they actually supposed to be the ones standing in front of the people speaking, right? But they never invested actually anything in doing this. So now they hate the idea of seeing someone that they know that has had so many of these obstacles, brave and in front of them and doing this, and they're projecting all of that back to me. Remember, if you have a background like us, whether, you went to private schools or whatever, most of the time when you're a Black woman or a woman, people just hate the idea of you being successful because they know the obstacles that are there. So I always say to people, then you become a mirror of how much is possible, that with all the privilege that they got and that was taken away from you, they have comprehensively underachieved. Because here, as Zimkita Mabindla, with my Bantu education, with all of these things, right? And I am on top of the stairs in the profession. I tell people I'm one of the top 10 CAs SA in South Africa. If someone had to land and say, please bring me CAs SA, I know my name will actually be there, right? But then the people that I actually are trained with, who had those privileges, who were white and male, white and Indian, they haven't done that. Then now they hate the idea of me doing that, and then they projecting that back to me. And then the last thing, and I'm cognizant of time, please, let's learn to stop performing people's expectations, because that's what the world teaches us. We are always playing a role, performing people's expectations. We never actually live our lives and be in our lives, because I'm performing, especially again, because I'm a Black woman, so I speak from that perspective as Black women, right? Humility, which is, I hate the term so much. I promise you, Zama has her version of humility for a Black woman. Susan has got her own version. Danki has her own version. So you Black women are always over-functioning, performing all of these roles, right? Because now I have to adjust my humility to meet Chantel's humility, aspect. There's a point where we have to let go of performing people's expectations, because we will never, ever, right, win in that and live our lives as authentic, as real to us as possible. So the final answer, it is an internal job. Let's stop trying to fix the world. Let's fix ourselves and make sure that we are 100% sure that we've invested in ourselves. So if I'm presenting, then I'm the best orator in South Africa right now, kind of thing. Then, because I've invested in myself, right? So you can write your thesis over you didn't like what Zimkita said. I don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I invested in myself. I'm one of the best speakers in the profession and South Africa. So you can write and say, oh, I didn't like the way. I just delete and move on. So that is the importance of investing in yourself, in your talents and your skills, and making sure that you are comfortable going out into the world. That will probably negate biases, but it's a topic, and so that I can talk about. I need probably an hour or a full day workshop to talk about it, and I hope that I've actually given some examples of how this could work in real life.
Sure. Thank you so much, Susan Kita. Thank you. I hope everyone have some takeaways there, and also know that you belong and be able to identify those bias and discrimination. So moving on forward, the question goes to Melody. This is Melody. In terms of encouraging young women to enter the profession. So the CA profession journey can be sometimes being so heavy and hard, like sometimes even feel intimidating. So out of your reach of your the youth, you advocate for women to get education from your perspective. How has education been beneficiary to you? What is encouragement for young people to do, especially if they don't see enough role models who look like them in leadership position? From your perspective, what can be done to inspire and encourage more young women to pursue this path of becoming chartered accountant? And what role can current professionals play in making the profession more accessible, inclusive, and welcoming?
Thank you for that, Nombuso. Sorry, I think I'll start with the why I would encourage a young woman or a young student to do the profession. Firstly, because you can. Women are very capable, and I think Zama spoke about this in her introduction as well, that we are capable. Contrary to what the world believes, the bias we face, how we've been made to feel, how we've been oppressed, how we're constantly breaking different barriers, women are capable, we're phenomenal. We have got the IQ, we've got the EQ, we know how to lead with empathy, we know how to lead very serious projects, we're very strategic. So women are capable of holding leadership positions and they deserve to be there. So the why for me would be that because you deserve to be in a leadership position and you are able to be there. And this is not specifically just for the CA designation, but all the other designations, to say that whatever it is, and I think also Susan spoke about it, that I'm a huge advocate of women going to school. So unfortunately, I had lost that Twitter account, Susan, but before then I had spoken about Musadi ki Skolo. So whenever I said Wasadi Baga, everybody knew to say, well, okay, Skolo, we're going to school, we're going to school. So I'm a huge advocate of education and what it does for the girl child. Secondly, when I want to touch on specifically the CASA designation, and Oloti will correct me, I think it was this year or last year, 2024, where the South African chartered accountancy profession was ranked #1 in the world, right? That speaks to the power of this designation, not only in South Africa, but internationally. With social media now, we're able to see our peers, the younger generation, packing their bags and working globally. And for me, that is such a huge milestone, that you're able to wake up one day and say, you know what, I've never even dreamt of getting on an airplane, but now you're telling me I get to step in an airplane and go work in London. That is for me like a huge achievement and a huge doors being opened for the profession. So that's another reason why I would encourage young girls to take on this profession. For me personally, coming from an impoverished background, I would say that it's opened doors for me. And speaking about airplanes, I didn't get on an airplane until my first trip to Cape Town, which was during my article that I paid for myself. So, growing up, there's certain things you don't even dream about going into, but now I'm able to wake up and say, okay, I want to go do a Euro summer. So I think Danke did say that we don't really get the money they promised us. But I think when you get to a certain place in your career, it really does afford you opportunities to travel, explore what you like, pick up new hobbies that you want to do. And for me also, it's the dignity that it comes with. The resources really give you a sense of dignity that you have. And I think Zimkita spoke about access to confidence. And the profession gives you that, the resources give you that as well. And yeah, so it's the world really becomes your oyster once you are educated. And with the CA stream specifically, you are not likely to find unemployed CAs. You do sometimes, but it's very rare cases where people are moving in between careers, trying to find what they like. So I think it's easy to say I'm going to school, but it's so important to pick what are you going to do at school. You really want to pick a career that is a rare skill that is going to put you in rooms. And I like the CA designation specifically because there's a number of panelists here, but all of us do something different. I'm in the banking doing IFRS advisory. Zintle is a CFO. Zama is a lecturer. So you can either go to the auditing route, you can go into corporate. We've got a lot of entrepreneurs as well that are CAs that are running big corporates. So it really opens up different doors. It opens up your thinking. Once you also figure out what your purpose, what you like, because there's people that love audit. I would never touch audit, but I figured out what I like. So I think it really opens you up to exploring yourself. And the second part is around how we can go about encouraging young people to go into this designation. I think it's through channels like these, through AWCA, ABASA, SAICA, TUTUCA, and any other bursaries as well, through different initiatives we do. Personally, I'm part of a team, and I think Rochelle and Sia might be on the line as well, called The Community. And we have an initiative called #Life After CASA, and Zimkita has been on our platform before, where we bring different qualified CAs, and I think at some point we didn't limit it to CAs, that came to speak about what life after qualifying means to them, how they got to where they are. And we used to have different people, even outside of the accounting profession, sitting in those platforms, listening in. So I think initiatives like these, I can never stress the importance of really just showing up for the younger generation, showing up for your trainees in the offices that you work in, just extending a helping hand. So even if you're a first year student and you feel like, no, I don't have much to contribute, there are high school students that you can speak to, so no matter where you are in your timeline of your career, there's always someone you can uplift. And I think if we take it upon ourselves, helping one person a year, it really does have a good ripple effect. And I think that's how we can encourage different young women to continue with their career. And I don't remember which panel member it was who spoke about, I think it was Yuzama, conducting yourself in a way that makes the profession attractive. And I think that's also very important. Then when young girls see you, whatever platform, whether you're sitting at a coffee shop, I mean, they wouldn't know you're CA, or whether you're tweeting or walking in the office, how you conduct yourself really is a driving force into whether someone wants to follow in those footsteps or not. Thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Melody, thank you. Thank you so much. We're moving on to Sis Olwethu. Is she here? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
She's here. Okay, this one goes to Sis Olwethu. Creating safe space and support system. So beyond career development, it's equally important for women to feel safe, supported, and understood in their academic and professional journeys. As someone involved with SAICA and the Tutuka Bursary Funds, is Olwethu, how does the organization create safe space and provide support structure for female students? In your view, what does a true safe space look like in the CA profession? And how can young professional active contribute to build this support system, whether through peer network, mentorship circle, to ensure women can strive both personal and professionally?
Thank you so much for the question. So with how SAICA is involved in creating safe spaces, so through our Tutuka bursary, it's not just a bursary that just funds your academic career. We are cognizant of the fact that a lot of the bursary recipients come from various backgrounds, and to that end, we also ensure that there's a holistic approach to the support that we provide through the bursary. So aside then from the financial support that is provided, we do have various programs that have academic support. We understand that, when you're away from your family and your core support structure, you definitely need some assistance in that way. So we do provide that academic support, and we also have mental health support as well. So we do have a company, Lyra, which provides mental health support that all bursary recipients have access to. And because we understand that some of these challenges that bursary recipients may face don't only stem from themselves, but also is connected to maybe families and previous past traumas. We also ensure that their immediate family members have access to Lyra as well. So if they need, family what is the word, therapy or something like that, then we are able to provide that as well through AWCA. So yeah, I think the bursary is definitely a great opportunity for someone to grow holistically, not only in their academic career, but also to find themselves and to grow in their purpose as well. And I definitely, what the question is, how do safe spaces look like? I think safe spaces are diverse. So it can't be that safe spaces are only created by women. We definitely need allyship. And so we definitely need to bring our male counterparts, not only male counterparts, but specifically for Black women, we definitely need to bring in our other racial counterparts into the conversations as well. Because it's not only on us as Black women to I think Sister Kita touched on it, to also be the recipients of aggressive behavior, and then also impart how that aggressive behavior needs to be rectified. There needs to be a conversation that is channeled to males as well as to other races in how certain behaviors can affect us. And so allyship is definitely important in that conversation. And so bringing various diverse opinions into one room to create sort of like a framework in the profession, not only in the profession, but also across, so that people know how to engage one another without being harmful, definitely. And AWCA is very involved in some of those processes. And also, I think what I would like to touch on, and it's not entirely part of the question that I've been asked, but there's also the issue of our exam results, and how that seemingly seems to affect Black women and Black people entering into the profession. And part of what we've realized is also the fact that who are the people who are sitting the exam. So it's not only creating like the safe space, but also creating a space where there's diversity in a room that will be able to think of someone who is an Onwethu who comes from X background. How would they interpret a certain question that is being set in an exam? So diversity is important in creating safe spaces, but is also important in ensuring that access and successful access into the profession is provided as well. So yeah, we as AWCA have recognized that we definitely need more diversity in who sets the exams, and who also marks the exams, because we do understand that people have different writing styles, and so everybody needs to have a chance to be able to be heard in that manner, for sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sis Olutu. Moving on, this one is for Sis Danki. I love it for her. What are women doing correctly? So often discussion around women, Sis Danki, in the workplace, the focus on challenges and barriers, but it's just as important to celebrate the progress and strength that women bring to the profession. From your perspective, what are women currently doing well in advancing themselves and each other in the CA profession? And how can we build on this success to create even greater impact in the future?
Thank you. I think first to acknowledge that we've made a lot of progress as women. There's a lot of policies that have empowered us and assisted us to find our voices. We are no longer, silent observers. And as much as, yes, sometimes we can say there's fronting in some cases, there's a lot of policies that have been written to defend us and make sure that, we have something that can back us. So we are literally now in a position where, because we've got the backing, we understand how the system works, and while we're figuring out, we're no longer waiting just for an invitation, you know, to get a seat at the table. We are setting up the seats ourselves, and we are controlling how that's being done. And I think that's taken a lot of work of women that have come before us, you know. And I mean, even just looking at the CA profession itself, and the fact that, you know, the first CA is still very much young and alive, Mam Nonkululeko, you know, and from her, how many other, you know, women have come out of that, and actually made an impact. So I think, you know, that's one, to acknowledge, you know, that empowerment that we find ourselves in. And then I think secondly is the fact that, as women, we are helping and uplifting other women. You know, I can't stress enough the power and the impact of mentorship, right? And networking. And that's been what is going to obviously move us forward. The more circles we build, the more we protect each other, the more when we see women rise into these positions of CEO where we're very much lacking, right? We're getting to the CFOs, which is great, but we need the CEO positions, where we can, you know, surround each other and help each other. And I think there's room for that. You're seeing more and more of that happening. And I think that's how we ensure that, you know, as women, we create the legacy and we create the space for each other. So as we reach the top, we make sure that we're lifting. And it's very much the motto of the AWCA, you know, lift as we rise. And it's what we truly believe in. And I think thirdly is the fact that we're empowering ourselves. You know, we're sitting here in a room full of women that are going to school, as hard as it might be, as much as some of us are saying, you know, we paid for ourselves, we did 1, 2, 3, but we are empowering ourselves as women and lifting ourselves. So, you know, that is also a very big impact. And it's breaking, you know, the myth that there's only space for one person. You know, there's been multiple invitations in the room to say, if you know you see anyone here, go on LinkedIn, open and make yourself known. That is part of, you know, helping and uplifting other women. So and ensuring that you are also uplifted. And then I think just also we're seeing so many women being so courageous. And I think probably it was in Kita's story, she shares a lot on walking away from things that no longer serve her, right? And I think we're doing more and more of that, where we're not just begging, we are saying, no, we belong, you know. And if we don't feel like we are being served to the point that we want, we are more than happy to just walk away and say, this is no longer serving us. And that's quite critical, right? Because it's not even just a weakness, it's just, it's the highest level of self-respect and knowing yourself, knowing what you deserve. So we're showing up in that case. And I think that's taking back our power and also showing the younger generation that, you know, your dreams are valid. The way you want things to play out is valid. You deserve exactly that. So I think in that sense of how we're showing up, you know, it really has been making a big impact. And then I think also just to share on the safe spaces, and I really love what Oloti was sharing about, right? We are having women, I mean, right now, Saka is being run by a woman, right? So, you know, she's feeling the fact that the pass rates are not where we want them to be, you know. So she has to take it personally. So we are then creating those safe spaces for ourselves. We're advocating, you know, and even if you look at who are the people, I mean, granted, we are the most affected when you look at issues like GBV, but we don't sit back, right? We are advocating and coming up with that and saying, no, we want the solutions, we want accountability. At work, we are the ones sitting in those inclusion and DIE initiatives at work to make sure that we are part of the change that happens, and we make sure that for our collective well-being, you know, we are advocating for that. And then I think we are also excelling. You know, I'm always surprised when I get into these rooms and just hear what women do, but we are excelling both academically and professionally, you know. And that is a really great way for us to show up. We are going after those PhDs. You know, we getting the qualifications, and we challenging whatever norms we're told about being a career woman, a wife, a mother. You know, we're balancing, whether we outsource, we don't, whatever, but we're balancing, you know, some way. So we're making sure things don't fall through the cracks. We might not be doing it ourselves, but we are balancing and making sure that, we pull through in that sense. So I think there's a lot of things that women are doing correctly in terms of just advocating for ourselves, creating the community to make sure that we support other women. And I think we're at a point now where, whatever was being told to us, because I don't think it came from women that there's only one space at the top for women. I think it's what we were made to think because of the impact we'll really have. The more of us there will be. I think you can go read up on women-led companies. They do very well, so we are very capable. So I think we're slowly coming into it to realize that no, we can actually work together, and we're starting to do that. We're starting to advocate for each other, and we're also giving ourselves grace because we realize that, being a professional woman is hard. So you're not going to be able to do everything at the same time. And I think we letting go of all these things that have been placed on our shoulders and deciding how we want to show up, and how we define success, right? What success looks like. It might not be picking up your child from school every day, and that's fine, but you're making sure your child goes to a really good school, you're providing safety for them, you're giving them exposure to opportunities they wouldn't have. And I think those are the things that we are really, really doing very correctly. And I think, just as young people, for me, in terms of making sure that you build on what's already been done, all the women that have come before us and have done the struggles, and we don't have to. Use your voice is valid, speak up, and I see a lot of comments around, I'm seeing a lot of like titles on LinkedIn, I can't, text because of that. You don't need a title, you don't need a title to speak. Your voice is the power. If you can't speak up now, even when you're a CFO, you will not be able to speak, right? Because you need to be able to speak on your values are your values, what you look, your passion, what you're passionate about. It does not change just because now you became a CEO. So you have the dreams inside of you. You might not have the tools or the resources now, but who you are is who you are. So use that as your weapon, build your sisterhood. The AWCA is all about sisterhood. It's the reason we exist. We want to make sure that you always feel supported. So build the sisterhood, do that correctly. You can see women surrounding each other. Don't believe the lies that women can coexist, women are not good friends. There is no one that will support you more than a woman. Please, there is no one that will support you more than a woman, and I mean that. So build the sisterhood, invest in yourself. I think that's been spoken about. Learn, score law. It really does make a difference. The lives we are living now, yes, we might take it for granted. We might make jokes about OCAs are not being paid as much as we thought we were going to be paid, but we're probably in the top 10 of the wealthiest people in the country, guys, so you don't take that for granted. The access it gives you, the safety it gives you, it gives you so much. So invest in yourself so that you're empowered, Luena. You can make the decisions, you can get on that plane, go to Cape Town, eat do oyster there, and have a good life and really enjoy life. And then know when to walk away from things that don't serve you, and I think sometimes we see failure or quitting as such a bad thing. It's just a redirection. It's okay to start over as many times as you want, and that's the privilege you now have, right? Because people have gone before you, they've tried and tested. You can look at something and say, it doesn't serve me, and go on to another opportunity. That's the beauty of all these opportunities that have been created around us. So, walk away, and then don't forget the person coming behind you. Lift as you climb, lift as you climb. Really have the impact on the next girl child. There's still a lot of challenges we're facing as a country and as women, but lift your head up. If you can do certain things in a better way, make sure the girl behind you doesn't have to face those things. And that's how, we will advocate and change things for women. But yeah, I think we're doing a lot of things very correctly as women. We must back ourselves and just keep on keeping on and pushing the boundaries. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, sis, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So please, women, your success can be great, but greater, even greater when you're empowering each other. Along the way, just empower the next sister, please. The next sister, pass it forward. Okay, we move on. This one goes to Chantel and Olga. the ladies that I look up to. They inspire me in so many ways. So my question is, what have you learned from you have started the articles, right? From scratch from school. There are people here who haven't started articles, they're like literally still students. So what have you learned in the working environment as you have started your articles in your new clients engagement? And what have you learned as well that is not on the textbook? And what have been the biggest highlights being a CA trainee in a good positive perspective?
Sure, you can go first.
Okay, well, I think so. What have I learned so far, right? If there's one thing that goes beyond the textbooks, I think for me, soft skills have never been so important. I think that, and like, we don't talk much about soft skills till you walk into corporate and you realize the importance of it. So I think when I walked into articles, I was like, one thing we all have our CTA, we all have our boards, right? So that is not a differentiating factor because most people walk in articles with that. But then I asked myself, how can I then be different, right? And it's soft skills. And I remember at work, we had this diversity group, and I asked one question to say, why is it when we get to corporate, we stop greeting? Like you get into a lift, people are quiet and like, hi, how are you? You know, just normal small things that we stop doing. All of a sudden, we build up this culture that we call corporate culture. But and I think for me, it's soft skills. Like you need to learn how to communicate. Because remember now, it's not about what you write down on a piece of paper. It's about how you say your message, how things come out. I think for me, soft skills have been important, and it's something that I'm working on improving myself. And I think also networks. So like you need networks especially in audit, right? Normally we say that what makes the audit is not the client, but it's the team that you're in. And if you can't communicate, if you can't build networks, audit can be a very tricky area for you. Hey, it can be really bad. So I think that's one thing I've learned. But how has articles been for me so far? I'm enjoying my articles. People say I'm weird, but I'm genuinely being honest, guys. I think also given that I don't have CT, I don't have like boards because like we've passed those, so I'm just waiting for APC next year. But I'm genuinely enjoying my articles because I'm genuinely building relationships. I'm genuinely putting myself out there. I'm genuinely always putting my hand up, say, how can I improve myself? I don't want to walk out as someone who just completed and got their competencies, but I want to walk out as someone who can literally be world diverse to take on the world. So I think for me, it's the fact that there are opportunities, you meet people if you put your hand up. Because in art school, like in corporate, people are busy, okay? So nobody really not cares, but nobody would know what you need if you don't say what you need. So I think for me, communicate, speak up for yourself, build genuine networks, because the manager could potentially be your next employer or something. Do you get what I mean? So build relationships and just be friendly, just be nice. Like we don't need to be mean while we at it. Also greet you. Hi, how are you? How was the weekend? Good, good. Then we move on with our lives. You don't need to just keep quiet and move like people don't exist. So yeah, and opportunities have came along with my articles.
Thank you, Chantal. All good.
Well, Chantal actually called me her mom's lost child. So I'm basically gonna almost say one of the same things that she said. But to add a bit on what she said about speaking up, I think, as I said, that it's literally me to speak up, right? I don't just shy away. However, one thing that I have learned as well is the ability to be able just to sort of I'm learning. Let me not say I'm learning. I'm learning to communicate better, if I may say, which is something that, as much as how the textbook would say communication, but it literally does not necessarily tell you how, right? So again, someone was also asking in the chat about how then can you even speak to partners and everything, right? And someone also said, one of the panelists then answered that take it back to the human level, you know. And I think the advantage of it, of me having the ability to speak up, or yes, speak up, then it will be that I'm able then to approach your directors, your partners, or anyone else really. But also I approach it as well from a human level before then I come back with your title. I always say that I don't really like titles, you know. To me, you're like, oh, thank you, Mukwena, you know, before then you are the financial manager of something, because I think maybe if we could relate from there, it's nicer to make a lasting relationship when you have that connection, you know, than to make it a thing of like, no, I just want this from you and then that's it, you know. So that is that where I'm thinking that speaking up can be amazing, but also the community part about it has come into place as well, where then it's a thing where people are also able to go like, nana, we speak like this, you know. We're not saying don't shy away, we're not saying don't stop speaking, but perhaps the way you could do it, it's this way, so that you know, you don't really jeopardize your opportunities, you don't, you know, you don't come off as being offensive or anyway, you know that. And as everyone would say, that people are always really willing and available to engage when you approach them. You'll be quite shocked. So yeah, and then another thing that I want to point out is adaptability. I think adaptability came from moving from engineering then to CA, right? It's been a thing where I remember when I started my first year, when I started in CA, because I'm not that person where when I study, I take things like one thing and I'm like slower pace, is it like the easy ones, and I do it like the difficult, then the easy one. I remember one of my lecturers, really that was the first day of my accounting lecture, was like, the thing is with CAs and then engineers is that they're quite smart, but the difference between them is that they begin with like the toughest questions and then they go back to the basic, because that's how they understand. We are the opposite. Oh, she liberated me, because then for the longest time, I couldn't understand why is it that I couldn't get the way they are suggesting for you to actually, you know, study things. And then when I finally realized that, no, it's because I'm used to studying like this, right? Then I incorporated what I've already learned, which I knew was working exceptionally into this. So I do think that adaptability is quite amazing, you know, having to move from one client or one engagement or one partner, one team group, you know, it helps you with that you deal with different personalities, managing styles, right? And it's your best friend to pick up very, very fast, especially in auditing. It's a very quick tapa environment where you really need to, you're always, and I always say I'm always learning. I'm literally in learnership, and also says thank you last stage. I was like, trust me, just pass your board. And I was like, but I want to do my master's. And she's like, don't worry, you'll be constantly learning, you know. And now that I've done that, the CTA and the board, I thought I'll be chill. Me, I'm learning as well. So I think, you know, speaking up and showing up, you know, really trusting yourself as well, the soft skills, right? But then also as well, just the adaptability, it's good. I just want to keep it quite short there, because I know our time is a bit hard.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Chantal and Olga. I hope every student who are sitting there and about to rock in those boardroom, in those corporates, have taken some notes. So this is the last question that I have, and it's not going to a specific person, but to all of you. I'm wrapping up right now with this question. So all negotiations, salaries, and promotion are confidential. We know that. Let's say now you have exposure, experience, and you see that, you know what, now it feels like I have to increase the salary. So one of the challenges many young professionals, especially women, face is negotiation for fair pay and promotion without fear of being seen, or they are too demanding, you know, or ungrateful. What strategies can women use to approach this conversation? Because to be honest, they can be not comfortable, discomforts. So what can the strategies can they use in terms of this conversation with confidence and clarity? And how can CA students start building these skills early so they can advocate for themselves effectively throughout their career? And it goes to anyone. Anyone can, like, we now, the panel is yours. Yes, Zintle.
Okay, I will, excuse me, I'll start off this conversation. I think the number one thing you need to be able to communicate to your employer is your value. I think the assumption in the workplace is everyone knows how hard it is that you're working, but they actually don't. Someone, I think Chantal mentioned earlier, people are busy. People are focusing on their to-do list and their tasks. They're not necessarily paying attention to the next person. So you need to enter these kinds of discussions with an understanding of the value you bring to the organization, be able to verbalize it, and then also understand what the market is saying about what you deserve. So do your research, do your research and say, as a trainee or someone coming out of third-year articles, I should be making X amount. This company has offered me Y amount. There's a mismatch. How do I get to the number that I want? And then be firm in that. We tend to, as Black women, be overly grateful for whatever crumbs we get. And it's very, very different from our male counterparts. They ask, they negotiate, and they receive. We ask begging and pleading, please give me more money. It's not a please, it's I am worthy, I deserve to be here. I've done XYZ for this organization, and you need to increase my salary by 10%, whatever your number is. But you can only do that if you're able to articulate how good you are and tell them how much your services are worth with facts.
I can go as well. I don't know what has happened to my hand. I can't raise. I think I'm disabled somewhere. I agree 100% with what Zintle is saying. Again, the best currency as a woman you can have is the ability to advocate and lobby for yourself. But in order for you to do that, you have to toot your own horn. So that is why, for me, I disagree with humility, right, as a principle that is always held over Black women's heads, because even if I say I am the best IFRS specialist, people are going to say, oh my goodness, you are so arrogant, So people are teaching us to actually let other people toot our horn, but the problem is in corporate, people are busy tooting their own horns. By the time they get to yours, their voices are distorted and the message is not clear. So we need to learn to actually make visible the value we add. Speak up. This is what I have done. We go to meetings, people plagiarize our ideas, and we keep quiet. We need to learn to proactively say, oh, I'm so glad that you liked my idea. Let me add on it. You know what I'm saying? Currently, we keep quiet. People plagiarize, they anonymize Black women's voices in meetings. So all of those things, all of those tools, we need to already be prepared that this will happen, and then how we're going to advocate for ourselves. And if you've done your research and people are not willing to pay you, walk away. I'm the only executive who says this. I'm not going to advise you to sit there, because you know what happens then? We become unethical, right? Because I'm sitting in this position resentful because I'm not getting the right salary, and then I'm giving half a job and collecting a full salary, right? Walk away and do not accept counter offers, because if you had to go to market in order for you to establish your value, believe me, most of the time, nothing good comes out of counter offers, because you're going to be miserable anyway.
Oh. Sure. Okay, is there anyone else who want to take over before I hand over to Susan? Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. I would like to hand over back to Susan. Susan, over to you, sis.
Thank you so much, Nombuso. And yeah, to the panelists, that was such an amazing engagement. All the wisdom you guys shared, like it's a lot. It's a lot for us to take in, and we are super grateful for your contribution. Those are the conversations that we need to have like weekly. Honestly, it needs to be weekly because it's that impactful. So many people get to learn from this. So many people are going to watch this recording and be like, yes, this was empowering. It's going to help give them some sort of direction, in terms of how they can navigate 1, 2, 3. Amazing stuff being shared here today. And we are super, super grateful for your contribution. And yeah, Saika, thank you so much for being here representing Saika. I hope this means, in the future, maybe we can have a bursary for Milpark students because we are struggling this side. We need to work things out that we can have a bursary for Milpark students. It's a lot. Yeah, so please. And I just want to encourage also everyone when posting about event, please use the hashtag #IamPhenomenal 2025. Let's just put that hashtag #IamPhenomenal 2025. And the CAs here, they keep talking about we don't get paid enough. How much are you guys getting paid? How much is not enough? Sis Danky is always up in the plane going somewhere. I see it as enough. How much is not enough, Sis Danky? To me, I'm seeing, I'm seeing very big numbers. I'm creating big numbers in my head, but no, thank you so much. And I also just want to add with regards to what this journey can open up, the opportunities this can open up. I was on my first flight this year because of a company that called me for an interview in Cape Town. That was literally my first time being on a flight, and somebody else paid for it. And it's being in this profession that afforded me that opportunity, so it's really like the world is your oyster. There's a lot of opportunities, in this industry. And we're so grateful that you ladies showed up today, to share your wisdom. We did have a giveaway that we wanted to do, but because of time, we're going to do that on our socials and to try and also respect everybody's time, because I do understand everybody has very serious commitments. So I just want to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've come to the end of today's program. I want us to pause and reflect on the heart of this event. We came together this morning to celebrate women, not just for what we do, but for who we are. Phenomenal, powerful, resilient. Today, we have been reminded that our journeys through different are connected by one truth, that when women rise, society rises with us. To our speakers, thank you for your wisdom, your time, and for showing us what it looks like, to lead with courage and grace. To our attendees, thank you for showing up for yourselves, showing up for this community. We hope you walk away not just inspired, but reminded that you too are phenomenal. I also want to extend the heartfelt gratitude to Saika and Milpark for supporting us on this initiative. It's events like this that strengthens us. It strengthens our shared mission of empowering future leaders in this profession. And I cannot close without giving a special shout out to the AWCA Milpark Student Chapter team. This event is not the work of one person. It is a vision. There's planning, dedication, and people committed to making this a success. Everything has been carefully planned out, people being in charge of certain things. So I just want to shout out to my team for all of their assistance into making this event super successful. As AWCA Milpark, we remain committed to building spaces where women empower women, where we uplift each other, where we continue to shape the future of this profession together. So as you leave today, carry this with you. Being phenomenal is not about perfection. It's about persistence, purpose, and believing that you belong in every room that you step into. Thank you, and have a beautiful day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Susan, thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
bye
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.